Hi, I'm Christine Garcia, and I'm focusing on the important roles of engagement in distance education. From using my research articles in this course, I realized that engagement was such an important piece of all distance learning and education. So I chose that topic for my final review paper. So I want to start out, what is engagement? And there are a few different ways that engagement is worded. So student engagement occurs when students make a psychological investment in their learning. They're taking that ownership. And then according to Anderson, student engagement takes place through interaction. That's things like project-based learning or problem-based learning, being able to collaborate, interact with each other, and be able to take that real-world thinking and collaborate with others. Cognitive engagement, it's defined as the integration and utilization of students' motivations and their strategies in their course of learning. So we need to help with activating prior knowledge during and after when they're reading new information, teaching them how to self-question, monitoring comprehension, and then summarizing those things that they've learned and really using those strategies to keep them engaged. So why is engagement in online learning so important? Well, often we confuse engaged versus just on task. So when someone is on task, you don't really know where their mind is at. You're not maybe not be stretching it to get that higher order thinking. You want them to be able to get that cognitive engagement we just talked about. And it's going to be that teacher's responsibility to get that. So you're going to be responsible for making those good lessons, deciding what's going to be the best assignments and activities to really create enthusiasm and create culture of commitment from those students. Students sometimes will come off as engaged, but they might just be compliant. That means they're completing their work and they're doing what is asked, but they're not going above. They're not being excited or motivated and creating that culture. So we need to sometimes think, is being on task enough? It's not. Some other things that why it's important is because surface learning, that's just when they're doing the minimum work required. And surface strategy is limited target, but maintains the bare essentials of learning. So we really want that deep motive to incur intrinsically through the interest and see what they want to move forward with that learning. Where achieving motivation enhances the ego and self-esteem by working hard to receive those grades, and then just achieving like how they're going to organize their time and their space. So here are some theoretical foundations that have built upon why engagement is so important. So social constructivist theories, they are looking at that social interaction. Students can work alone, but we've learned through online collaboration, students are able to build and fill in each other's gaps. So making sure those online teachers are creating group projects, debates, discussions, and all those interactions are meaningful and not just chatting to chat. There's also the community of inquiry model. Well, that discusses the presence of having that social presence, that teaching presence, and that cognitive presence. So there's more going on there and bringing those three together to really get that engagement. And then there are the Anderson 7 principles of engagement framework, and that is you are responsible as an instructor for increasing the contact between the student and the faculty, providing opportunities for work and cooperation, encouraging students to use active learning strategies, giving them timely feedback on their progression, being able to spend quality time on that task, and establishing high standards for the work that you're accepting, and addressing those different learner needs in the process. The self-determination theory is really focused on using the students' motivation to keep them engaged. What are their motivation behind their choices they're making? How is that going to influence? And that's really going to result in enhanced performance, persistence, and their creativity within the course. So from those theories, I've looked at some research. And one of the main research is focusing on just 3 types of engagement. There's the learner-to-learner type of engagement. What that means where you're building the connections between the students. So in one of the surveys, they surveyed 3,800 students, and they found that the students who were able to have discussions early on in the courses with other classmates, they were more satisfied and they learned more throughout the course. In the same study, 80% of students wanted some kind of icebreaker to start the class because it did lower their stress throughout the rest of the course. The other type of engagement is learner to instruction, building a connection between the instructor and the student. Now, this can come in various ways. So the teacher can utilize some of those technologies, such as discussion boards, chat sessions, blogs, wikis, group chats, Twitters, YouTube, to foster that student engagement through design and technology. And the last one is learner to content. So learning to build that connection between the learner and real-world scenarios. 90% of students in the study, they want discussions and they want to have open sources to further their research on the topic. They were able to participate more because they know that this information is going to help them, whether it's in the future job or just something they're highly interested in and want to continue their research. Another important research aspect was finding ways to utilize those motivation strategies where you're using those deep motives to really enhance their learning. And those students were able to then regulate from the research their own learning strategies and perform much higher throughout the course than other students. I wanted to then take it to focusing more now on the K-12 online education. Because the rapid increase in the virtual school programs, we are noticing though that they need more research-based investigation into the instructional practices because they're still lacking in those areas. And from looking at this diagram, you can see the increase of student enrollment in K-12 integration of online learning has went up extremely. So here were some of the tips that were really important for fostering that learning for K-12 online education. 1, connecting with the students. 2, creating fluid practice. So differentiating their instructions, especially in K-12, there's a lot of different needs, a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different interests, language, and cultures all have an influence, and taking that time to differentiate that student instruction is going to help the students feel successful, which is then going to create less stress and overall help them to do well in the course. So that also goes into engaging the students with the content. You as the instructor really managing the course, how involved are you in this course, and that will show to the students. And then really being there to support their student success, checking in with them to see what more do they need or how they're doing along. And then blended learning is another way that we can use engagement. It deals with both the traditional in-person teaching with online education. So it takes the best of both the brick and mortar and the online learning and blends them together. So taking conversations and interaction and collaboration from the traditional and face-to-face classroom, but then merging that with the virtual online where there's self-paced, there's practice and feedback, and a lot more progress monitoring. The blended research found that giving students a blended learning environment by using that multimedia, they were allowed flexibility in the coursework, which led to overall higher engagement rates and the high rate of student activity. Because the students were able to access the content 24 hours, they were more able to then engage when the time was correct for them, not when they were forced to meet. And they completed the modules due to longer engagement periods because they had no formal meetings when they had finals due or projects due. Blending learning had a lot of great opportunities that help students who fall behind in the traditional classroom and allowing them to take their time because life does sometimes get in the way and there are things that we cannot project that's going to happen in their life. So during the study, they found students bonded very quickly by the end of their semester because they were able to do face-to-face and the online. So this gave an increase in engagement and relieving their stress. Some of the engagement concerns, as distance education continues to be utilized by higher learning institutes, many struggle in knowing how to effectively utilize tools for the benefit of the students, faculty, staff facilitating online courses, distance education departments, and the universities as a whole. So with online education being the new medium for teaching, there's really a lack of knowledge that's being transferred to those teachers who are doing the teaching online. They don't have enough professional development online courses. They don't have enough support from their staff. And so overall, the quality could be suffering. So I'm going to offer some recommendations that I think can help the engagement in online courses, which then could facilitate helping online courses show better overall success rate for students. So the first thing would be professional development. As I said, there's a very lack of professional development. Teachers need to know ways to engage students in their online courses because it is different than face-to-face. They need ways to connect with the students. They need to be able to figure out professional development can be offered either online, which is a great way since they are teaching online, so to take a training online would be a great way, or if your institution, if you're teaching at a university or something, offering that. And then I've noticed that many districts are starting these types of courses to help facilitate that, but it's not everywhere. Another great recommendation is think tanks. Think tanks are an institute of research where it allows the center of organization perform research and advocacy concerning topics, and that could range from anything from policy to technology and culture. So those teachers who are online teaching could get together and form think tanks of how can they create the best possible education for these students? How can we make an engaging lesson? They share, this could be weekly, monthly, this could be just after every semester, where they take input from themselves and from students in the courses and coming back and together and reflecting. Now, my last recommendation is just engage. Engage from day one. Find a way to connect with students. You can create things such as a Google Doc where students can read and share with each other. It allows everyone to connect from day one, learn more about each other. Allow to have open discussions about passionate ideas and projects, even if it's not the exact project that they need to complete for the course. Allowing them to share these ideas that relate can help both you and the students further research. Share your ideas about yourself, your current research, and embrace the technology as an online teacher. Thank you.